Hello guys, Bengali versus Sylheti, the debate. Now there is this big misconception that Sylhetis speak a broken down dialect of the term Shuddha Bangla. That is incorrect. It's information that I only found out 4 months ago myself. Now in order to break that misconception down, I've made this video and used some examples as evidence based to hopefully make you understand a bit more in terms of where I'm coming from. So let's start with Bengali. Now, this is probably something that most of you will be accustomed to. I grew up learning this, go. Now, for the video, to make it more simple, I've used one phrase, and that is, how are you in English? I'll try to break it down. And in Bengali, it's apne kemon achen. Apne kemon achen in Bengali, which means how are you? Now, take a look at the alphabet system, the way it's designed and everything. Now, if Sylheti speak a broken down dialect of Bengali, you explain to me what this is. A lot of you won't have seen it. It's actually the Sylheti alphabet. Look at the letters, the way it's designed. There's less of it. Now when you pronounce it in terms of how are you, you say Afne kilan asoin. Afne kilan asoin. In Bengali it's Afne kemon achen, and in Sylheti Afne kilan asoin. Very, very similar. But Sylheti people don't speak a dialect of Shuddha Bangla because they have their own unique alphabet and numbering system. Take a look. Let's compare it. Look at the way they're designed. Can you see? It's not the same thing. Let me try use a few more examples to help you understand. Spanish. ¿Cómo estás? In Spanish, how are you? Look at the alphabet, right? Design. Now, Portuguese. ¿Cómo você está? Very similar to Spanish. But Spanish people don't speak a broken down dialect of Portuguese, and Portuguese do not speak a broken down dialect of Spanish. They're their own independent language. Sound very similar. Let's try another one. Hindi. Look at the way it's designed. Hindi, alphabet system. Aap kaise hai? Aap kaise hai in Hindi. Now, in Urdu, aap kaise ho? Aap kaise hai in Hindi, aap kaise ho in Urdu. Sounds very similar, yet they're their own independent language. So Urdu people don't speak a dialect of Hindi, and Hindi people don't speak a dialect of Urdu. Okay, because they got their own independent language. Look at the alphabet and numbering system. Completely different. Therefore, it gives them international recognition and their own identity. Let's try another one. Norwegian. Okay. Hodun dua du det. Please excuse my pronunciation. I'm obviously clearly not expertise in speaking Norwegian. But just to give an example, how it's written. Hodun har du det. Look at the alphabet system, the way it's designed. And if you cross compare that to Danish, it's identical in terms of how you say it. Hodun har du det. Maybe the pronunciation is a bit different. The spelling is exactly the same. The whole point is that Danish people don't speak a broken down dialect of Norwegian, and Norwegians don't speak a broken down dialect of Danish. They're their own independent language. Even though the alphabet is very similar, yet it's still independent enough to be their own language. Now, a lot of you guys probably thinking this doesn't prove anything. All I've done is basically get two nations that are close to each other and the languages sound very similar. So obviously they're going to be the independent languages because they're two different nations. And that's a point. That's a valid point. So let me help you try to break it down even further. Let's go back to India, okay, as an example. India, again, aap kaise hai? Got the alphabet system, if you can see it, the design. Let's compare that to Gujarati, because Indians are in Gujarat. Tome kem cho? Tome kem cho in Gujarati. Now look at the way it's designed, okay. Cross compare that to Punjabi. Tusi kivam ho? Tusi kivam in Punjabi and tame kem cho in Gujarati. Sounds very similar. They're both within the same country in India, but they're independent. Punjabis, Indian Punjabis and Indian Gujaratis. Punjabis don't speak a broken down dialect of Gujarati. Gujaratis don't speak a broken dialect of Punjabi. They're their own language. They're their own identity, even though they're in the same country. Is that making sense slowly? If not, let's try another way. Go to Spain again, right? Spain, I was saying, ¿cómo estás? Okay. Now, in Spain, you also have the Catalonians or Catalans. How do they say how are you? ¿Cómo estás? Exactly the same way as you say in Spanish. Yet, they've got their own identity. Catalonians don't speak a broken down dialect of Spanish, and Spanish don't speak a broken down dialect of Catalans. They have their own independent language. If you look at the system, it looks very similar in terms of alphabet and writing system, but it's independent of each other. Now, to hopefully make it even more clearer, if I give you the Spanish sort of flag or the map, this is Spain. Majority of the country speak Spanish. This is Catalonia. They're still under Spain. Catalonians are still Spanish, but they don't speak a broken down dialect of Spanish. And Spanish don't speak a broken down dialect of Catalonian. So if you take, for example, this is Bangladesh, okay, majority of the country speak Bengali. This is Sylhet. Sylheti speaks Sylheti. Sylhetis don't speak a broken down dialect of Bengali. Is that making sense? Right? They can sound similar, but it doesn't mean they speak a broken down dialect. They've got their own independent language. And Catalonians are under Spain. So what I'm trying to say is that you can be Bangladeshi Bengali, but you can also be Bangladeshi Sylheti. But at the moment, we haven't got that recognition, because we've been told we just take a broken down slang term of Bengali. Now I'll give you another example. Chinese. Mandarin is the national language. Chinese Mandarin is the national language of China. You can see that how the way the setup is in terms of the writing system. Ni hao ma is how you say how are you. Now within China, you've got another group called Hakka or Hakkans. They say ni hao mo, very similar, but yet they don't speak a dialect of Mandarin. There are others that do, but Hakkans don't. They've got their own independence in terms of language, because the numbering alphabet system is completely different. Look, cross compare it. You see? Hence why they've got their own recognition. Now if I show you the China map, again, Mandarin is the national language. Areas like Xiang, Gan, Wu, Hu, they speak a dialect of Mandarin. Yes, they speak a dialect of Mandarin. They're not separate. But Hakkans, they've got their own language. They're independent. So therefore, if you take, for example, again, this is Bangladesh, and this is the Sylhet region. Sylhetis speak their own language, as Hakkans do, and the Bengali speak their own language. Hakkans don't speak a broken down dialect of Mandarin. Sylhetis don't speak a broken down dialect of Bengali. Alright? Is that making sense, guys? And finally, I hope this makes sense to you. Here we have Bangladesh. Okay? Most of the country speaks Bengali, and that's the national language. Here is Sylhet. Sylhetis speak Sylheti. End of. Sylhetis don't speak a broken down dialect of Bengali, as we've been brainwashed or programmed to think we have been. Because we've got our own alphabet and numbering system. I showed you the evidence. Even then, you don't even realize, around this region here in India, there's actually more Sylheti people that speak Sylheti in India than there is in whole of Bangladesh. If there was no border and we walked over there to India, we wouldn't even know the difference. Because Sylheti is a region, it's a people. People speak Sylheti in those areas and everything. So hopefully, guys, this video's made a bit more sense and tried to give you a bit of an eye-opener in terms of what I'm trying to raise awareness of. Like I said, in the next few generations, we're at danger of losing our heritage completely, because our Sylheti heritage hasn't been protected. It's not internationally recognized. So join me, help me, feedback, give comment, follow, let others know, raise the awareness. Because when the petition comes, make sure you sign, because we need to ensure that our mother tongue is saved. At the moment, there's no literacy, there's nothing that's archived. There are people working tirelessly behind the scenes, but they're afraid to come out. As Sylhetis, I would urge you as well, don't be afraid to come out. Okay, social media is powerful. Use the tool, raise awareness. I have no issue in being called a British Bangladeshi Bengali, but I'm not. I'm British Bangladeshi Sylheti. So if I'm Sylheti, I'm Sylheti. I'm not going to hide. I want to basically show people my mother tongue and be proud of it. Proud to speak Sylheti, proud of being Sylheti. It's time to stamp the Sylheti authority. Bless you. Stamp it.